It's time for the grand finals of the KSL, the Korean StarCraft League, number 58, 59, something along those lines. It's the best of 5 series of Protoss versus Terran. We're in game number 1. In the top right-hand corner of the map, we have none other than Classic. I mean, he's gonna be there in game number 2, I'm sure, as well, but he probably won't be in the top right-hand corner, depending on the map, I suppose, and the spawn locations. His opponent, though, in the bottom left, playing right here with the blue Terran SCVs. We're looking at ByuN's main command center. Alrighty, now I heard that the series is a bit of a banger, so we'll have to find out together exactly what ended up going down. But it should be a really, really close call. Classic has been making some steady improvements over the last year or so. ByuN, of course, has always been good. A very tricky Terran to go up against, because he's capable of, well, literally anything. It's very difficult to predict ByuN. Most of the time he plays a relatively standard, but every once in a while, especially during these smaller online tournaments where there's a couple $100 on the line, every once in a while ByuN gets a little bit crazy. Generally speaking, Classic, I mean, maybe his nickname is already quite obvious. He plays pretty classical StarCraft, so he doesn't really do anything all too crazy. But it's been a little while since I've had a close look at his Protoss versus Terran, so we'll have to see exactly what he does right here against ByuN. We have seen the Protoss players in general, though, play a lot more confidently as of late. For the longest time, Protoss players have been hit in the face. They've been bullied one too many times. And then suddenly they realized, wait a second, we can actually play macro games. We don't have to be cheesy. It seems to be perfectly viable right now, looking at the top-ranked, well, Korean, but also the top-ranked European Protosses. Like, for example, that series I recently casted featuring Showtime. It's very viable for Protoss to just play straight-up StarCraft 2. For the longest time, Protoss was very much so the type of race that almost had to catch the opponent off guard, but we see a lot more macro-focused builds these days, where it's actually up to the Terran player or the Zerg player to get something done in the earlier stages of the game. So for now, though, everything here is very, very normal. We've got ourselves a factory right now on the back of this too, so this is a double gas opener from ByuN. He will certainly go for a command center here. Should be coming up on the low ground, but the big difference here with the double gas opener is that you go for the factory before the command center. So if you go for a single gas, you will always go for the command center before the factory. And obviously this means, okay, we're gonna go straight Cyclone, that he will have to get something done with this sort of early game. Generally speaking, you can, in most circumstances, get away with a faster command center. So it usually means that Terran has got something aggressive in mind, or at the very least just wants to get a whole lot of units out. Now, we're doing a cheeky little move around the main base to try and escape. Mission successful right there. For the Reaper, it'll be a Stargate follow-up right now for Classic. Couple different flavors. You can go for Oracles. You can, of course, go Phoenixes, too. I always like seeing Phoenixes. Most common follow-up from Phoenixes is we have another Cyclone. All right. Most common follow-up with Phoenixes is into Colossi. So Phoenix into Colossus is very good. Phoenixes are very good at, well, if you're properly microing them, right? If you're doing a decent job as far as that goes. But they are good at buying you time and keeping you safe, as long as your micro is on point. Now, ByuN at this point doesn't know what the opponent is playing. He is gonna, yeah, lose the Reaper here, but ultimately that will still obviously give him all of the information that he really needs. Okay, I thought for a second that was a third Cyclone, but no. No, there is a third Cyclone. Okay. So this is not a build. I mean, it's a build in the strictest sense of the word, but generally speaking, we don't go this many Cyclones. You can fit 2 Cyclones inside of a medevac. This looks very much so like for example, a Widowmine opener. So we'll have to see exactly what ByuN is going to be able to do with this. This is one of those things, though, where if Classic is caught off guard, he can accidentally lose the game. It's very easy to... Are we going to make more? I think we just keep making them. Ah, Tech Lab coming up. Okay. So it's triple Cyclone here with 9 Marines. I mean, it's a lot of DPS at this stage in the game. No Stimpack, of course. There's not even a Tech Lab for those barracks units yet. Shield Battery has been planted down by Classic, and that's going to be an absolute necessity. We will now be following this up as well with an Immortal. There's the battery overcharge. I think without a shield battery, Classic would actually just be dead here. Okay. So this was what we were building up? What? Are we gonna go... Okay, well, let the man cook. He is going mass Cyclone against Protoss. There's a reason why we never see Mech against Protoss, guys. And it's, well, called the Immortal. There's a couple other units that are really good as well, but the Immortal in particular absolutely shuts down armored units. But with good control, I mean, obviously you can make Cyclones a hell of a lot quicker than you can make Immortals. With good control, I guess Cyclones might be a viable option? This is a... Okay, yeah, we're actually playing full Terran Mech. So this is double factory into now also Raven production. So we're going interference matrix right over here. I'm assuming the idea is to interference matrix the Immortals, at which point the Cyclones will just kill everything else. It's a funny little unit comp though. I mean, there's also a speed boost for the Cyclone in the factory's tech lab. It's a research that you have to finish, obviously. At this point, Classic is handling this like a boss. He scouted exactly what he's going up against. He doesn't know about the Ravens, but at this point, it's very unlikely that it's going to be a Cloaked Banshee or anything along those lines. Okay, there is one Raven available right now. He's going charge, but that's obviously not going to finish. Start Nexus is about 3/4 or so of the way done. Do we have enough energy for interference already? We certainly do. Medevac drop goes into the main base. And I think ByuN is just about ready to attack. If he can shut down the Immortals, the rest of the Protoss army will melt. Marines in the main base. Any Phoenix kill right now is huge. This is a very strange situation, though. I think you move in. Yeah, I think you go right now. If he can shut down some of those shield batteries. Yeah. So I'm thinking jumping this army, right? But the problem is, if you jump and you don't win, you lose the game pretty much immediately to the counterattack. So this is actually a macro mech build against Protoss, which almost sounds a little dirty coming out of my mouth here, because this is a very strange way to play against Protoss. Especially from somebody like ByuN, who's very well known for his bio control. He's very good at microing Marines. Yeah, we're just actually going full-on Cyclone production. So now Vikings are joining the fray as well. Siege tanks are cooking up. I'm assuming the follow-up here will be quite siege tank heavy, but I'm not 100% sure. This is a very strange build here from ByuN. In the meantime, Classic has been defending very nicely. He's got himself triple base economy right now. He's got to finish up the 2 upgrades here for the ground units. Zealots are going to have charged in a moment. Phoenixes swoop in. Keep in mind that Phoenixes can lift up any siege tanks, take them out of the equation. So at this point, obviously, there's only going to be, well, just the one. Barracks going down is actually kind of annoying here for ByuN, because it means that he will not be able to make additional factories. At this point, he's only got 3 of them. He will want to add on at least another 2 if he wants to double down with Mech. At this point, I don't think he really has an option anymore to transition towards bio, but let's see. Here's Classic coming in for his very first attack. Nice anti-armor missile, though. That's going to soften up a lot of these units. Immortals are, in the meantime, busy shooting at a bunch of supply depots. Interference matrices are going to shut this down. This is actually defendable right here for ByuN. I mean, obviously, those Immortals are going to be back in action in just a moment, but I do believe that he will ultimately hold on. Interference Matrix as well, and the Warp Prism is going to prevent it from warping in additional units. The Ravens are going to have to pay the price, but so are the Phoenixes. There's only 1 Immortal right now remaining. The Cyclones, yeah, decide to gun down the Prism. 21 SCVs go down, though, and I wonder if that is actually enough right here for Classic. I think it probably is. Those Ravens were absolutely critical in that particular engagement. Classic immediately decides to drop another base. He knows at this point that he's going to be substantially ahead as far as the worker count goes, but it's not like he really has that much income himself right now either. And as a matter of fact, now with all those mules going to town here, yeah, ByuN is still going to be able to catch up quite easily. So one thing that ByuN hasn't really done is get any upgrades for his mechanical units at all. So he's going to go into an armory right now. Infernal Pre-Igniter. That is the blue flame upgrade for Hellions and Hellbats. At this point, I don't think we've seen a single Hellion or Hellbat yet, but they are pretty darn good at roasting up Zealots. Is this a serious build from ByuN, or is he just trolling? I almost wonder if there was a little bit of pre-game chatter in the lobby, you know, before the game starts. Because this almost feels like ByuN is bantering with his opponent a little bit. I mean, it's working. Don't get me wrong, it's working so far. I think the main problem you run into, though, with Terran Mech is not even that the army isn't good. It's very strong. The main problem is that it's really difficult to prevent both Zerg as well as, well, apparently Terran from, or Protoss rather, from really getting a big economy out, right? So with Bio, you can drop around the map and get a bunch of damage done. But with Terran Mech, you usually go for these big bulldozer attacks. So this army is very difficult to kill. This is not a situation that Classic can easily break. But what Classic can do is get a massive economy out, and there will be very little that ByuN can do about that. One of the best things you can do against a player who's playing a more turtley or a more, well, Terran Mech-y type of army is contain them on the amount of bases that they've got. It's difficult to break, but you can catch them when they decide to move out onto the map or when they try to secure another expansion. So if Classic can prevent his opponent from ever getting a 4th base up, he will win in the long run. So I think that's probably the goal. There's no way, though, that he's going to be able to break this siege tank line. While he's building up his eco, he's also gone for a fleet beacon here. He's put down a 2nd Stargate. Yeah, there's no way. He tried to push in there, but there is absolutely zero way. You're pushing into 11 siege tanks and 4 liberators. There should also be absolutely no way that ByuN can make an aggressive push with this army. But if it's not spotted in time, Classic needs to delay this many, many times. Okay, siege tanks are sieged up. Zealots are coming. Immortal production continues once more. He wants those tanks to siege up. Yeah, ByuN realizes that it's bait. In the meantime, there's also a bit of a backstab inside of the main base. Those Zealots will be able to prevent the +1 attack from finishing, which is actually really good. Every single one of these Terran units is not gonna get their additional damage. Tempests are coming. Zealots still going to town. And even though this is a style that Classic will rarely play against, I'm really liking what he's doing here across the board, although... Oh my god, is this the fight? Is this what you actually want to do? Apparently it is. He decides to commit in the middle of this entire Terran army, and just like that, he didn't even need the Tempest. Classic shuts down the Terran Mech. Cyclones are still coming, though. 21 of them have died. 6 of them right here at a time. Okay, on the production tab. Ultimately, ByuN realizes that there's no way to continue, and that means that Classic wins game number 1. I really liked what ByuN was doing there. Let me fix the scoreboard. I really liked what ByuN was doing there. But Classic knew exactly what to do. And that's one of the things about these old school Protoss players. So Classic has been playing this game for ages. Let me see, how old is Classic right now? Classic, born in the year 1991. My god. Practically ancient. No, but he's been playing this game for a long time. And even though Mech is not the current meta for StarCraft 2, he will remember, you know, the past. He will remember the times that Mech was the meta. So even though it's something he doesn't really play against very much anymore these days, he will have a lot of experience playing against basically anything that Terran can do. Yeah, so kind of interesting. He was part of STX Seoul, and he joined that team on the 13th of October, 2010. So that's how long Classic has been playing this game for. Yeah, so he's been playing, well, other than his military service, which he started back in 2019, other than about the year and a half or so that takes in Korea, he's been playing this game ever since it came out. Now, this is a double barracks opener here from ByuN, who also, by the way, has been playing this game for ages and ages and ages. He's gonna go for a single barracks on the other side of the map, and then, well, it's not really the other side. It's more just another location on the map. Apparently the entire map is his main base. This can be a little bit annoying sometimes here for Classic. He's gonna see that it's Marine first. Yeah. Oh, we're actually going straight tech lab over here. Really? Is this the ByuN that we all know and love? For the big tournaments, ByuN plays very stock standard most of the time. Very small deviations. Yeah, so he showed his opponent the Marine first opener, then he pretended that he was gonna go for an expansion. He killed the probe that was scouting, moved the SCV back into the main base, and we're now gonna just go for a good old, I guess, Marine Marauder 1 base all-in. That seems to be where we are headed. Oh, Classic. Classic wants to go for a proxy of his own. Oh, that's so awkward. Now what? Classic thinks that he's been busted, so he will obviously have to cancel this pylon. There's really no way he's going to be able to hold on to that. But why were those Marines moving together in that direction? Is it enough for him to start thinking, okay, what is happening in the top right-hand corner? Because if you're scouting for proxies, those Marines would be split up. One would be going over here, the other one would be going towards the right. There's zero reason for them to be together. Command Center does start up in the main base on the back of this. Marauders are going in right now, and this is going to be very strange for Classic, because he's going to look at this right now, and he's going to see, okay, wait, where? Huh? There were 2 Marines. How in the world are there also 2 Marauders? Stimpec will now be researched here on the other side of the map too. Low ground will be evacuated. We do have a triple gateway style. Okay, fair enough. The triple gate is going to give him an awful lot of production, but there will not be any blink. There will not be any, well, immortals or anything along those lines. A single pylon will be spotted over here too. Yeah, that Nexus is toast. There's really nothing he can do about it. But this is a very delicate game right now. Oh, Proby is coming in clutch as well, dude. No, Jimmy. Not going to happen. In the meantime, oh, maybe the Nexus can live? Oh, that's a lot of probes being sacrificed for it, though. They are going to try and get the wraparound right now as well in the Marauders. New Stalkers are coming up, and this is the main advantage here for Classic. Because he's got... Oh, the SCV got the final hit. Because he got a bunch of gateways here. He's got triple gate. He actually has an awful lot of production. He keeps the base alive. And I guess he can now contain the Terran on 1. Is he going to try and bust the main base, though? That's the real question. More Marauders are waiting. 6 probes in total is decent. Classic could easily replenish them, though, at this point in the game. Stimpec is going to finish up, but at this point, there's only a handful of units that can actually benefit from it. He's looking around everywhere. Classic is scouting the entire bottom left-hand corner of the map right now. He's trying to see where that proxy is coming from. Still hasn't spotted it. The Marines and the Marauders, actually, it's just the Marauders over here. They could stim in and just kill the Nexus. He's done such a good job defending this. Yeah. Yeah, no, I think it's worth it. You sacrifice the Marauders, you kill the Nexus. There it goes. Command Center, in the meantime, has landed in the natural expansion of the Terran. Looking at the minimap. This is going to now put Classic into a complete all-in. He does still have the proxy pylon that those Marines found earlier. I think he should probably head across the map. I don't know if he's got the time here to... Maybe he assumes that this has been one base play this entire time here from ByuN. He sees the amount of Marines and Marauders out. Without an easy way to warp in again, and he's thinking about making another Nexus here. This push is not really going to work, I don't think. A siege tank is just about ready. There's no way Classic is going to break this position right now. He's going to have to try, though, because he's going to fall... He's going to fall very far behind. ByuN actually manages to get it done. Yep, GG. Okay. Next up, we find ourselves on Alcyone. 2 very cheeky games there from ByuN. I almost feel a little bad, though, for Classic, because if he would have sent his Stalkers towards the top right-hand corner of the map, he would have found that proxy, and that attack would have never happened, right? He would have killed a couple Marauders. He probably would have even been able to deny Stimpec. The Nexus obviously would have lived. That would have been an entirely different game. But he decided to toss up a coin. He scouted the, well, wrong direction. He sent all of his units over there. That's usually where most of the proxies come from, so obviously ByuN purposefully hid it in a very uncommon spot, but that was extremely close right there for Terran. But ultimately, ByuN does get the job done. Now, do we see a normal macro game here this time around? What do you think? Classic obviously also has a couple opportunities to be a bit of a joker himself if he wants to be. I think for Classic though, going for a triple gate opener is already kind of out there. Right, that is already Classic going crazy. Triple gate, 2 base. A little bit uncommon. Most of the time we either see a Twilight Council or of course a Stargate opener. So far though, no SCV going across the map, and the same can be said for the probes. Gonna be a Cybercore into a Nexus. Cancel the unit right there to still build that Nexus at 20 supply. We'll see a pylon over here at the front. And then probably probe production into another gas geyser. Everything here very normal. He's gonna scan though. He's gonna have a look. Yeah, this man now has trust issues. He's looking everywhere. Alright, we're playing the mental game already. ByuN is not doing anything of the sort, by the way. So ByuN is gonna actually go straight into a Reaper Scout, it seems. Which is kind of funny, because normally... Oh, he's gonna scan, okay. He's not 100% convinced that this is a normal build. He's gonna now see that scouting probe, and he's gonna be able to get the kill easy peasy. Single gas opener this time around, by the way. Is it gonna be triple CC? Yep, it will be triple CC. So this is such a ByuN game. So game number 1, he goes Terran Mech with Mess Cyclones. Doesn't work. Game number 2, he goes for a Proxy Barracks, right? Both games, basically no macro. Basically the smallest amount of Terran economy that you can have. What does he do in the third game? Single barracks, triple command center. The man has built a third command center right now off of 2 Marines and a Reaper. Any aggression from Protoss would shut this down. But this is why ByuN is such a legend. He's very good at playing a series. Individually, I don't think any of those builds really make a lot of sense. If you were to do them in ladder games, like in a best of 1 series, it doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. But in a best of 5, it tells the full story, right? In a best of 5, it is very, very clever. I think ByuN might actually be one of the very best players to play a series. I'm trying to think of other players that are extremely good at it. Obviously, most of the top level players are very good at it, but ByuN has a massive range as far as his build orders go, and it's a lot of fun. So this is a straight robo opener, actually. So yeah, Mr. Classic mixing it up quite a bit as well. We actually see it also a lot right now from the top level Zergs. Especially against Terrans. They come into every series swinging. They're no longer just allowed to sit back and play macro, which is what most of the Zerg players want to do. It's very much so up to them to try and get something done. Body blocked right there by a probe. You love to see it. Hallucinated Phoenix is going to get the full scout. And now we're going to go into a Twilight Council on the back of this. At this point, yep. Classic will realize what he's playing against, and he will think to himself, this greedy son of a... Okay, maybe not, but he certainly now has managed to put all of the puzzle pieces together. Yeah, this is the type of build that only works if Protoss is going to be playing defensively. And obviously, after Classic got punched a couple times in this series already, Classic decided to play it very, very safely. Going for that scout all around the map, and in the meantime... The best thing he could have done in this match is just attack. Alright, so we are going to see very quick Colossi in this particular game. ByuN has followed up the triple command center with triple barracks. It means that medevacs are very late, but the upgrades are going to be relatively early. We also have the engineering bay researching the +1 infantry attacks. So this does lead to a very nice upgrade spike right here for ByuN, right? So he's gonna get a very nice improvement here. He's already managed to get away with murder, basically, at this point in time. The only problem here for him is that his opponent also is playing a bit of a funky build. So Classic not really opting to go quick Twilight or quick Stargate here. He's gone essentially straight up towards Colossi. So those bad boys are hitting the... Yeah, they are hitting the battlefield before the 6-minute mark. Which may very well be a problem for this very Marine-heavy army. Colossi absolutely destroy Marines. And while Marauders are quite good, There's only 3 of them in total right now. 2 of them inside of the main base. They're not going to be able to achieve that much. Blink is also going to finish up nice and early. So, even though I like this position here for ByuN, he needs to be very careful. Are we going to go 1 Colossus straight into a Prism? Okay. Well, the Marines are going to try. They will be able to shut this down, but the Colossus is already out. He needs to kill probes, though. This army is getting sacrificed. 10 probes is not bad. The question is it worth losing all of these units for? Can he get a sentry? He will get 1 sentry. Okay, so now you've poked the bear. The nice thing here, though, for the Terran is that he did shut down the production in the Robo facility. And you're never really gonna go for an attack without a Prism in this sort of setup. So this may actually just prevent Classic from going for an attack altogether. He may actually just decide to play passively. Now, he scouts the 4th command center. And I wonder if that's gonna prompt him to still go for a push. Medevac drop over here, okay. It does get intercepted. Nice targeting right there on the Medevac, but at the same time, that wasn't quite enough Stalkers to actually fight this entire army. Good control right there by Classic. I don't think you can really afford losing another one of those Medevacs, ByuN. Careful now. Are we gonna just go for a 4th? Yeah. I think it's probably the most logical thing here for Classic to do, but I also don't love it. Because it's very much so gonna keep the ball in ByuN's court. ByuN now gets to do whatever he pleases. And he's already ahead as far as the eco goes. So Classic here is trying to see if he can play a long, drawn-out game instead. If he loses this Nexus, it's gonna be really... I think he's gonna lose it. He doesn't know that this attack was coming at all. Luckily for him, ByuN is not immediately targeting the base, but yeah, no, that expansion is going to fall. In the meantime, there is a siege tank set up right now, but it's only a single tank. Stalkers do blink in. Nexus, in the meantime, on the other side of the map is gone. Nexus at the 3rd base, though, may not be too far behind it either. That means Classic needs to win with this army that he's got right here, right now. That Colossus needs to be retargeted. Nice snipe right there on the Prism using those Vikings. And even though we see tons of SCVs going down, all ByuN really needs to do is just defend. And he does exactly that. GG. Amphion is next. A 2-1 lead right now for ByuN, who really has... He's been in control of this series the entire way through. Even though he lost the game, and I kind of feel like he should have lost the 2nd map too. ByuN can be a bit of a bully. Classic is like, oh yeah, so I'll give your... Sure, you want my lunch money again? Sure, here you go, ByuN. I would love to see a little bit more of a... Ooh. Okay. A little bit more of a feisty decision-making from Classic. It is kind of the Protoss way, though. Oh, that's so mean. Gets the probe kill. After he almost lost an SCV here. Protoss has been bullied for many, many years now. And at this point in time, it almost feels like sometimes it should be a bit of a mindset change, because Protoss is actually really good. There's a lot of moments where you can make that decisive decision, and you can actually go across the map and go kill him. But a lot of Protoss players at the highest level still opt to sit back and take the punches. Yeah. ByuN and Bully both start with the letter B. Coincidence? ByuN's 4 characters, but Bully's only 5. Very short words. Coincidence? You could probably figure out a way to spell ByuN with 5 letters, 5 characters. What are we gonna do, ByuN? Are we... Don't tell... No, ByuN! Triple CC with one of the next... Or one of the command centers proxied? Okay. Alright. This one's for all the marbles. And ByuN decides, you know what? This is what I want to do. We're gonna build a command center. I don't think I've ever seen this entire base mined, ever. I've seen a lot of games on M-Fuel, and I don't think I've ever seen anyone in my... This is gonna be one of the first times this base is gonna be ever touched. I know a lot of you have been asking for viewer-submitted games, and they are coming. But maybe ByuN may just be delivering that. I know ByuN does watch my channel from time to time. So, you know, that technically makes him a viewer. And therefore, this could be a viewer-submitted game. It's just not quite Bronze League Hero. Like it's not Bronze League Heroes. It's a little higher than Bronze. If Classic finds that base, ByuN is super screwed. Like, there's pretty much nothing he can do if that base gets spotted. Obviously, he can fly it to the corner of the map. I want to see a series like this between ByuN and Dark, where they're both ready to wrestle in the mud like this. It's so easy for Classic to scout, but there is zero reason for him to assume that there is a random command center at the 3 o'clock position. This is a very popular build order in Gold League, but that's also kind of where it ends. You know? Yes, Gold League, it's good. Anything past that, it's pretty terrible. Unless... This is a really nice catch right here for ByuN. So, Classic is seeing the triple barracks here, right? He sees everything. So, there should be a third command center out. Like, at this point, it should be quite clear that there should be a third command center out. He doesn't have the perfect information here, obviously. We can see the entire map. But it's pretty obvious that this is basically the same build as in the previous game. And a command center is missing. He's checked the right side. He's checked the other third. It should be quite straightforward for him to start looking around the map. He's seen the main base. He knows that it's not hiding there. By the way, this hybrid base is not even really worthwhile. You get 7 minerals for every... Like, it's nothing. It's no real improvement here. Mules, by the way, do not benefit from mining the golden mineral fields. So they give a flat amount of resources per trip, meaning that it's actually worse to use them on gold mineral fields. Because, well, negative EV. But anyways. Third Nexus coming up right now for Classic, who's once again taking the punches. Yeah. He's basically saying, oh, you have a third... Okay, you have a third command center. I don't know where it is, but that's okay. I'm a little surprised he isn't actually looking around the map. Because the timing of the barracks and the upgrades and everything here from Terran do make it quite obvious. Once again, we're coming up on the 6-minute mark. There's still no medevacs out. Like 1 and 1 and 1 is 2. Wait. It is now. Yeah. 1 and 1 and 1 is 2. That's how it goes. At least in the mind of the Protoss. Alright. Classic sees that base. Okay, we're immediately making a beeline for this expansion right now. He probably assumed that it was up in the air and that it was being transferred towards the third base location. Okay. There you go. This is the decisiveness that we want to see. And suddenly, this is now prompting a push here from ByuN. Observer up in the air will see this attack coming in from a mile away. There's already a Colossus out. Command Center is gonna go back and the SCVs are also gonna return back home. This is where they were born. This is where they wanna... I don't know. Much like salmon, okay? This is where they want to spawn their offspring. Okay? I don't know. Why are they going back here? Nobody knows. Oh, we're just gonna... Okay, make a missile turret. Alright. Yeah, sure. I guess. He pretended that he was gonna leave, but he actually didn't. He's hiding in the same location twice. ByuN's terrible at hide and seek, I can tell you that much. Always the first kid to get spotted. It's like, ByuN, you were behind the tree again? It's working against Classic so far, though, but he's boosting. Ooh. Couple of medevacs into some of those Phoenixes. Could have been a disaster. It's difficult though here for the Protoss player because there's only so much vision you actually have, right? So this is still a really good situation though for Classic. He doesn't really need to be all too... Okay, well if he loses the base, that may just force his hand. He's going Gravitic Drive. That is the Protoss Millionaires upgrade right over here. That is the speed improvement for the Warp Prism. Oh, can he get one of the Colossus? He is gonna get one of the Colossus. Nice snipe right there by ByuN. I do feel though that ByuN is making this game needlessly complex for himself. Because there's a lot of units now, and these guys no longer have a medevac to call their own. So they're gonna get sniped. Can we snipe another Colossus? Nope, 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 nope. Not this time around. Classic though is very, very much so one of those players who stays calm under a lot of pressure, right? So this is one of those situations he will never have seen before. It's not really something you would expect. This base is just, he's even building depots here. Come on, man. That's unnecessary, ByuN. I mean, I think this entire base has been entirely unnecessary. I think he probably would have gotten more money if he just took it over at the conventional third base. Now it's Classic's turn, though, to go across the map. He sent a few zealots towards the 3 o'clock to check, and he finds them. 3 zealots to find them all, and in the darkness bind them. Big zealot warp in as well inside of the main base. 8 zealots were given to the main base. Fairest of all beings. Well, there we go. GG is cold. It's going to be Classic who wins game number 4. Okay, ByuN. That was cool. It was fun. But it was entirely unnecessary. That was a game for the fans. And maybe for Classic's mental health as well. Because imagine if that game would have worked. Usually what pro gamers do when they tap out is they immediately look at the replay. It's quite common when you're not entirely sure what's going on in the match. I can imagine that that is one of those games that will linger in your head, right? So ByuN very much so not just thinking about this particular encounter, but also the next time that these two will play. When you've just played against ByuN, and now you're playing against him again in another tournament, right? A couple weeks later. These are the type of games that will linger. So... nicely done right there by Classic, getting the job done and almost making ByuN look a little bit foolish here. Okay, so Site Delta. Very normal map, nothing out of the ordinary. So I think I'm going to be, well, speeding through the first couple minutes of the game a little bit. Just so we can get to the meat and the potatoes of the game a little bit quicker. ByuN going around the right side of the map here, checking out to see if there's any proxies in that location. Likewise here for Classic, he's going around the left side to see if there's any really obvious locations where the opponent may be building some structures. It's gonna be a sentry first. No, it wasn't a sentry first. That's what I get for boosting forward. I was gonna say, it's a adept and then into a sentry. Sentry first is a little bit funky. He's instead gonna go into the Twilight Council right now on the back of this, so all of this is very, very normal right here by the Protoss. To be fair though, to Mr. ByuN, obviously he was leading the series 2-1. If there is a time to be a little bit cheeky, that would be it. So if that's why we did it, I am expecting a, well, at least for ByuN's standard, a relatively normal game this time around. We are once more going triple command center, so this is 3 triple CC games in a row. Triple command center into triple barracks with a +1 upgrade as well. 3 times in a row, Classic could have gone for an aggressive build and he would have just straight up won. With maybe 4 gateways, it would still be a possibility, but there's the robo facility going down. He could make the call. I think Classic is very much so the type of guy who will instead go into a good old third Nexus instead. So he's gonna see, he realizes, okay, my opponent is being greedy. I will fight the greed with greed. So this is double gateway here, into a robo facility and then into a third Nexus. The norm is to make at least 3 gateways. Sometimes even 4, although that's become a lot less popular lately. 2 gateways though into a third base is technically a little bit risky, but when you know your opponent has been playing a greedy game as well, you can get away with it. And that's exactly what Classic has got right now. So there's the Stimpak on the back of this. We'll probably see another tech lab in a moment to go for the combat shields as well. +1 infantry attacks has already been fired up. As soon as the factory finishes, we'll see a starport, reactor on the factory, big switcheroo, double medevac production. Quick Robo Bay on the back of this too, so Classic is once more going to be able to get his Colossi out. So all Classic has, by the way, wanted to do this entire time, this entire series so far, is play a macro game. Right? That's all he's been wanting to do. He's playing very normal. He's not here to really do anything too aggressive. I guess in game number 2 he was sending a couple probes around the map and built some pylons. We never quite found out exactly what the idea was there. He was gonna go for triple barracks or triple gateway there, so I guess he just wanted to warp in some stuff and maybe put on a bit of pressure on the opponent without blink, but other than that, he's been playing very normal StarCraft. I don't think it's time yet for a 4th Classic. That's a little early. Okay, yeah. The main problem here is the Terran is just about to hit a big power spike. Medevacs are just about to come out as well, and that makes the Terran army suddenly a lot more mobile. If you build a 4th Nexus right now, that would be a bit greedy, but hey, maybe you can get away with it. It's not going to be the case though, it's just for a pylon over here to provide some vision in case one of those medevacs decides to sail along the edge of the map. Observer providing the high ground vision, kills the SCV. Forces the council as well on the supply depot. Barracks number 4 and 5. We're gonna finish up in just a moment. Okay, so the first delicate moment here for Protoss is gonna be when that bio army goes across. It'll be right before the extended thermal lens is done, right before the Colossi get their additional range. But already, Protoss has spotted where this army is headed, it seems. At the very least, he's setting himself up for success. Hallucinated Phoenix going in that direction. I mean, I like these positions for Classic a lot. This is in general really difficult for Protoss. It's super easy to mess this up, but this is the type of game that Classic will be looking to play pretty much any day. Now it's about time maybe to go for a 4th base. I wouldn't mind it. Because the +1 is finishing up and so is the Colossus ranged upgrade. And that's gonna make those lasers shoot at a much more significant distance. Plenty of Stalkers available here too. No way that he's gonna boost over here. But now ByuN is ready to start doing some multi-pronged aggression. And in the meantime, ooh, the Protoss army actually collapses on top of this. The medevacs are now gone. I think you chase this down, don't you? Yeah. Some of the Marines may be able to stim home. They're using their little combat drugs to go home as fast as possible. Running, running, and running, running. In the meantime, the Stalkers are being dragged away quite a distance here from the majority of the Protoss army. ByuN was thinking about engaging over there, but upon seeing the couple of expensive units here, he decides to back off. There's Gravitic Drive again. Oh, and that's because we're gonna go Disruptors. So War Prism speed together with Disruptors, we're gonna go for some Disruptor drops. No Psionic Storm here. No Ghost yet either, by the way. So I'm expecting to see a Ghost Academy momentarily. Obviously very good to have. Now with triple base fully saturated, it should be something that ByuN can afford. He wants to go double upgrades first. They're actually relatively late, considering how quick his first upgrades were. Those follow upgrades, yeah, goes armor first, because of course it's ByuN. Big Zealot run by over here. Gravitic Drive finishing up in about 10 seconds. This is like 14 Zealots though, so it's a lot of Zealots going to town. Vikings sleeping on the job. They're going in that direction right now, but they're not set up over here yet. Looks like one of the Scouting Marines also gets shut down. Recall on the Prism. just because he knew those Vikings were coming back, and that was a lovely little attack there from Classic. Albeit one where he did lose a bunch of Zealots, but 12 SCVs is not bad whatsoever. Where's the Disruptors? Okay, they're with the army for now. He's making 2 of them at a time. He's going double upgrades as well on the Forge. This is what Classic has been trying to cook up the entire time. 4th Nexus is now done. 72 probes versus 67, not bad. Ghost Academy here on the back of this as well. Against this type of Protoss army. Oh, did he just lose the Prism? He did. Against this type of Protoss army, you don't really need the Ghost as quickly. But it's still nice to have! Ooh, Micro Jackson sleeping on the job. Loses quite a few of those units right there in the Purification Nova. And that's gonna push ByuN back, at least in theory. This is, of course, ByuN we're talking about, so you never know. Decides to immediately load up the Medivacs upon saying that, but he sees the Observer and decides to back off. Are we gonna be dropping Disruptors at all, or is it just for Zealot run-bys? I guess that's the idea. He's been so keen on getting that speed upgrade for the Prism going quickly that I figured he was gonna be using the Disruptors too, but not the case. Another expansion coming up. Classic has now taken the entire vertical line on the left side of the map. Second starport just about to finish. Ghost production here is well underway. Ghosts are obviously still really good as well against Protoss armies in general, but especially against these Zealots. EMP on Zealots is really strong. Small units. And this army, yeah, ByuN once again on a little adventure. This is what ByuN sometimes likes to do. Sometimes I feel like his medevac privileges need to be revoked. Because as long as ByuN has a medevac, he's like, ooh. That's how I picture him anyways. Like, ooh, I've got a medevac? Let me send it around the map. And it does work out. More so than it doesn't, but there are these moments like the ones we just saw where he just loses a medevac full of units for essentially free. Okay, infantry level 2, now done. We should see the +3 start up here as well for the infantry attacks. He's going armor first, which is a ByuN play and a half. Objectively inferior, but he always does it. Is there enough right now for Protoss to break through all of this? He didn't quite expect that the Terran army was stationed over there. Lost a couple more units than he really needed to, but that was okay. +3 right now coming up, +2 on the back of this as well for the armor upgrades. Bunch of Zealots here ready to charge into the natural expansion, but that happens to be where the rally point of a bunch of these barracks is. So easy pick-off right there for the Terran. Oh, bunch more Novas rolling forward. Classic hoping again that he hits the lucky strike. Oh, sorry about that, Jimmy. And you know what? This may just be a good angle for him, although there are a lot of bio units coming in from the left. Big Novas! Big Novas across the board. Dangerous fight, though, here for Classic. His Disruptors will mostly now be on cooldown, so him disengaging here for just a second is a great idea. He's now nearly... yeah, he's maxed out, actually. +3 is gonna finish up in 14 seconds. Another Nova moving in, but I wonder if the Protoss army is already a little bit too big. Colossi at this point, though, are falling. Actually, every single one of them have died at this point. That was not nearly as good a fight as the first wave. Yeah. Classic looking strong there, but ByuN's still showing us why he is not to be messed with. Classic is feeling like he might just be able to win, though. He's going up to about 90 workers here, and he's making a full transition right now towards being the gateway man. No more robo facility units. We are just making stalkers and we're just making zealots. And this is an attack that's going decently well for him, but I've got a feeling that with the reinforcing bio units popping out, he should be able to clean this up. That being said, though, the Disruptors are still here. The Vikings are going to land on the ground. Prism at this point has been killed by them. We have some more Novas being shot around. Decent connections across the board. 22 SCVs go down. I don't think these Protoss units will go home, but they're dealing a tremendous amount of damage. Okay, maybe 2 of you guys will go home. Disruptor gets recalled as well. Okay. Okay. And as the dust settles, we will soon see Classic sitting at 92 supply of probes. He's got triple Robo Facility, making, well, 3 Disruptors at a time, and now we're gonna go into triple Colossi as well for a moment. Actually, he canceled those, and he went for Immortals instead. He's got a massive eco. He's gonna go up to 100 workers, and he's already maxed out again. Another Nexus is now done over at the 12 o'clock position on the map. And Classic, showing us some brilliant strategic decision making here. He has taken a page out of the Book of the Zerg, and he has decided that he wants to swarm the Terran. Some really lovely Novas once again. ByuN needs to hold on here. He doesn't have a ton of economy, but he doesn't have that 4th base at the bottom of the map. I wonder if that's where Classic should have set his sights instead. This was very much so for Classic supposed to be a killer move. Doesn't quite get the job done. Still though, he's got a lot of time to play. I don't really see ByuN taking a 5th base anytime soon, but, well, he's got apparently different thoughts about that subject. He's trying to sneak out a command center. Managed to pull it off in the previous game. Why not again now? Liberators are coming. If ByuN is given a few minutes, maybe 2 minutes or so, he's going to be in a really nice, comfortable position once again. But those Novas are overlapping, but they still get the damage done. Eco advantage right now for Classic is so significant that he can just swarm. He's going to go up to 16 gateways here. Another Nexus in the far top right-hand corner. And look at the minimap. We're trying to go for the concave of expansions. That's what we're doing. Yeah. Make another one, dude. Sure. Keep them going. Classic heard about concaves and their surface area effectiveness. He's like, is this how it's done? No, Classic, that's not what we meant. But it'll still work. Needs to make sure that he doesn't get over-eager, though. Much like Terran's building too many command centers because they're a little too comfortable. Classic is rich, but he's not rich yet. I mean, his income at this point is going to be through the roof, right? But in the meantime, ByuN did now manage to get away with a 4th base. A 5th base, sorry. Let's see. Classic wants to end this game here, but he's having a hard time finding an angle. Obviously, since he's got 96 probes, his actual army is not that big. He just doesn't have that much supply available for it. And it means that the Terran army at this point is actually larger than that of the Protoss. Classic reinforces this. You can see that displayed over here with the little sword symbol. 104 army supply for Classic versus 107 right now for ByuN. The thing is, though, this Terran army is not quite as high tier. I say that, it's not like the Protoss army is specifically very high tier here either. Couple units here for the distraction, but the problem is when you have this many probes, it's difficult to make an army that you can run by with, right? You tend to, like, ball up all your units in one big group. This Nexus doesn't even really have probes to mine. Yeah, that Nexus was unnecessary. Are we gonna try and kill this base? Is this the one we've got our eyes set on? Well, with some Novas, it might just be possible. ByuN holding on by the skin of his teeth. Couple of units over here. Trying to get the damage done. That should be cleaned up. Fight over here in the middle of the Terran base is also not looking horrendous here for ByuN. He's going to be able to get rid of the Colossi slowly but surely. That's one going down again. ByuN picks up the weakened bio units that are left over. He's a little afraid of another Zealot run by over in this area of the map. We see more and more gateways coming up. Building them in pairs of 2, by the way. Very good. Classic also part of hashtag Team Even. He's going to go up to 19. 20. Okay, good. 20 gateways, good. Okay, he may have just found the angle, though. He may not need those 20 gateways. He's finally found a way to split up this Terran army properly, and that Nova just seals the deal. It's Classic who wins the series 3-2 over ByuN.